but we're really checking ourselves.
That's funny.
Are we being virgins online, or are we being cool? You know, are we being
funny?
And I'm serious. Like, it's kind of changed the way I look at content.
Man, that just changed the way I look at you, London. I mean, God, I love it.
I'm still a virgin. You know?
No virgin energy. That is so cute. I now have come to believe very much that not only is luck a real thing, in other words, it's out there, and you hopefully can get a little bit of it, the good luck that is, because the bad luck will come. But in fact, you can learn to create it and expect it, not on your timeline, but certainly at some point, if you're willing to make it happen. And we'll unpack it in great detail on this episode. You know, just a few examples from my own life and Lovesack's story. Back in 2001, when we opened the first Lovesack store at the Gateway Mall in Salt Lake City, Utah, it was November, and we were just hoping to pay off our credit cards because we had built a factory and none of the furniture stores would carry our products. So now we max out my cousin's credit cards because mine were already maxed, having built the factory, on opening a new Lovesack store in the Gateway Mall in Salt Lake City, who didn't even want us there, but they let us in there because they had some spaces to fill for a brand new center. And we just hoped people would come in and not laugh at us. I mean, no one's ever seen a giant not beanbag company before. And sure enough, people started buying stuff. And before long, we had made 6 figures in sales just in the first few weeks. It was more money than we had ever seen. Holy cow. And people came in asking about franchising. Could we open more Lovesack stores in other states and pay you money to do that? And of course I said, sure. And I didn't want to tell them that we couldn't franchise to them under this name because we didn't own the national trademarks for Lovesack. Lovesack, the name, had been owned by some betting company in the Midwest since 1978 and re-registered every year. And we couldn't reach them. They weren't answering our phone calls. So I had people wanting to write me big checks to be a franchisee. And I wanted to take those big checks because we were barely surviving. And I needed some other name, and we had some dumb names. Like Lovesack was such a potent name. Whether you like it or not, it's a very sticky name. And as the year rolled over, because it had, you know, the store had been open for a month and a half, and it came to the new year, and my attorneys were working on these franchise documents and the disclosures to, you know, talk about the new name and everything else. We said, well, let's check one more time. And sure enough, January 1st, 2nd of 2002, their trademark went defunct. This is after 23 years of registration. And we snatched it up on uspto.gov for $250. And the name Lovesack today is arguably worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And so how do you explain that? But for the fact that we never stopped moving forward, we never stopped doing the next thing. We had the grit to keep going, and the luck came. And so you can call it whatever you want, but I'm a big believer in luck. I don't dismiss it. I'm a big believer that you can't expect it unless you're willing to make it. And you also can't control it. It can't be on your timeline. But things usually work out. You know, if you follow a bunch of these other Shawnisms, you know, around grit, around patience, and all of the other little lessons along the way, luck has a way of finding you if you've done the work. And so we'll unpack it in great detail on the balance of this podcast, but make your own luck. Let's get back in and figure out how we do it in London's world. Have you ever seen this dude on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok dumping hot sauce on the white leather seats of his Tesla, or that guy you swear is Macaulay Culkin, but all grown up, remaking those classic scenes from Home Alone as an adult? This week, we welcome to the pod social media phenom, one who I have had the pleasure of witnessing rise from a wee lad of relative obscurity to meteoric internet fame over just the past few years, proving to me firsthand it can be done. He boasts nearly 300,000 subscribers on YouTube, 630,000 followers on Instagram, and 9.5 million followers on TikTok. He has done an amazing job leveraging his uncanny likeness to create fun, entertaining, bold, and creative content, including all kinds of cool superhuman feats and wildly timely and creative original mini movies. Here is a living, breathing example of exactly today's topic embodied. The infamous London Lazerson.
Let's go. I love that you threw in as an adult, because I get that a lot. My biggest comment on Instagram during Christmas was, "You're an adult." And I'm like, yeah, I know. I get it. It's sad.
No, this is, you know what? One of my favorite comebacks in general.
Yeah.
Because listen, I'm the guy who invented Love Sack.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
And, people be like, oh man, are those covers washable? They have all kinds of jokes, and I'll show you Love Sack. Or like they discover it's got a hidden pocket in the logo flap, which is just there because it could be. But, of course, like, oh, is that where you stash your weed? I'm like, look, man, I'm a married monogamous guy from Utah,
yeah, exactly.
And their face is like, they don't even know how to compute that.
Yeah, it doesn't fit. It's like they're acting like you're so, forward about these certain things you do in your life, when in reality, it's like, I'm not sitting there on set saying, guys, I think I'm too old for this.
No, you know what though? You know what? I'll tell you what, having had a baby face my whole life, and my book's called Let Me Save You 25 Years. Sometimes people look at me like, you've been at this 25 years.
Yeah.
I'm getting up there. But thankfully, I was born with some kind of baby face. Trust me, at some point, you won't just own it while you got it. Like, it's cool that you play young. Don't wish it away, London. You're doing good.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's been a crazy journey, and definitely, in regards to this topic today, a ton of luck. Lucky brand deal, lucky, coincidence, just the way set life works is luck. You have to get lucky every time you press record on the camera. You have to hope that resonates with millions of people. And it takes a ton of effort to generate luck. So I love this topic so much. You're so smart for putting in your book. It's an overlooked, luck is so overlooked by people. Like, everybody's hoping that they can get lucky one day. And I think you and I are just creating our own luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm excited to unpack with you, because when I first heard the phrase, I was sharing, with the pod, it was from my mentor, Richard Branson, who said it to me. And I didn't agree with it. Actually, I didn't say anything back, but like, it was like dismissive of God and faith and all this stuff. And later, after much bad luck, did I come to appreciate, like, there must be luck involved. Otherwise, how could I explain the terrible stuff? And so my testimony of it came backwards. But to make our own luck. So I'm curious, when you first heard the topic, make your own luck, which is different than just get lucky, right? That's not the phrase.
Right.
When you heard this, what was the first thing that came to mind for you? What was the first event or first connection you made?
The first connection I made was when a buddy told me he's going to get lucky winning the lottery. I have a friend who's just, he knows on the inside of his brain that he's going to win the lottery. He doesn't know when. That's kind of his outlook.
Wait, to this day, he maintains this.
To this day, he maintains this. He's my age. He's in his 30s. And to this day, we'll have the conversation often, hey, how's the lottery going? And where I made this connection to, yes, you've got to be so lucky to win the lottery, right?
Right.
But then it's just logic to me. Okay, I want to do X. I want to win the lottery, but I'm only going to buy a ticket when I feel like it. I'm only going to stumble into a gas station on road trips and buy one ticket. To me, I'm like, you have this goal. I want to win the lottery, which it takes a lot of luck.
Yeah.
Why aren't you maximizing the results that you buying thousands of lottery tickets? You watch Mr. Beast. I think he went out and bought 100,000 lottery tickets, opened them with the guys, and still didn't win.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started correlating this. I just heard it logically. I was probably like 20, 25, 26. This was like an existential situation, but I was kind of practicing it in all my businesses and things. And I was just like, that makes no sense to me. You want to get lucky winning the lottery, but you're not going to go put forth the effort to buy as many tickets as you humanly can in your lifetime.
Wow.
But man, you're not going to get lucky. I hate to say it. You're limiting your chance at getting lucky. So, I think about another story that happened when I was 21. I had my first company. It was called Sticky Sounds. We built Bluetooth speakers that clicked onto GoPro mounts. We were on our last dollar. I think I had $900 in our business account, and our rent for our warehouse was $900. So I'm like, this is it. If we do not get something this month. So I'm like reaching out to blogs. I'm reaching out to just any consumer websites, whatever. Just, hey, we'll sell you 15 speakers to all your employees at half off, whatever. I'm just doing all of these things. And it's, we're cutting it close. I think it was like on the 25th of the month, after sending hundreds of emails, writing people on Instagram, doing the whole 9 yards. A girl hits me up, calls me out of the blue, says, hey, I work for Marlboro, the cigarette company.
Yeah, yeah.
And I actually have a funny LinkedIn post called Cigarettes Kill People But Save Businesses. And this is the story.
Love it.
The story I'm about to tell. She goes, we want to buy 5,000 speakers.
Yes.
And I'm like, how did you find me? And she said, oh, you wrote one of my best friends that writes a blog for Action Sports.
Wow.
She said, hey, I think you would love this for Christmas. So then I'm sitting here doing all these things, just trying to generate anything. And because of one thing I did, connected it to another person who was already buying Christmas gifts for all the employees.
Yeah.
And so that just insanely lucky. But had I not sent 100 emails in that month or done the work, I'm not getting lucky.
Yeah. I never connected. It's funny, as you tell that story, a lot of people know my story because I've told it on the pod a few times of where we got this order for 12,000 sacks. That really is what kicked this whole thing off, because otherwise it was a little side hustle in college that cost me money, as you know, to get a business off the ground.
Yeah.
And we went to a trade show as a last ditch effort. It cost me like 15 grand on credit cards to get there, but I just felt like, and nothing came of it. Like no orders, no nothing. And empty handed, but now I knew I could shut it down. And then it was when my phone rang 2-3 weeks later, and it was someone just like that who saw me at the show, won a 12. They had no idea it was like me and a butt, just like you. Yeah. And people could look at that and be like, oh, you're so lucky you got that order. And they're right. But the order would not have come if I hadn't sunk 15 grand on my credit card to go to Chicago and get lucky.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get lucky in the moment, and so I chalked it up to a failure. And in your case, perfect example. You sent the emails, they needed a promotional product. We both got started as a promotional product. That's what mine was.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. Wow. Well, congratulations, and perfect example. Look at that. We could end the show. You've made the point. No, your buddy with the lottery. What an easy example in the sense that, that makes it so stark, right? That's a perfect example. Like, it's neat to have a goal and look, use the secret, put it in the universe. I've said it, I've projected it, project success. We all get these memos on Instagram or otherwise. But in the end, if you're not buying a lot of lottery tickets, I mean, you could still get lucky just the same, but the odds go down.
Yeah. Well, it's almost an exchange of energy, right? It's almost as if, or let's say luck is generated by energy. And yeah, you could get lucky. I could walk in, scratch my first lottery ticket today and win it. That totally could happen. But if it's my goal to win it and I'm not even putting forth the energy to prove that I want it, I think that's the difference. And it's kind of like this mythical, energetic thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I didn't care which email got back to me. I was expecting 0 emails. And in fact, 0 of the people I requested or inquired to buy some speakers, 0 got back to me.
Wow.
But one of them decided, or, you know, you even look at it even more granular. What if the girl had her laptop open when she got my email and her friend walks through the door?
Yeah.
Like that's where it's lucky
Yeah.
is she gets my email. She can then make a direct correlation. Hey, you're buying gifts for all your employees, right? Well, look at this.
Yeah.
And it's only because my email came to her right as she's walking in or vice versa. I mean, how many emails do you get a day? And you're like, oh, that looks interesting. But then somebody texts you and then you're on that. And then now you're scrolling on Instagram. Oh, and now you're on TikTok and now you're on the toilet. And then you forget about the email. Even though you wanted to do it, that email came at the wrong time.
Yeah. Great example.
So, I mean, that's where follow-up to me, like I wrote something down for you. I said, luck is one part belief and one part consistency. And I think follow-up is that part of that consistency.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's all about timing.
Yeah, there's a number of, that's a good one. Luck is one part belief and one part consistency. I like that, London. You know, there's the age-old one. Luck is, I believe, where opportunity meets preparation.
Yeah.
Right. Like there are many ways that you prepared to become a social media influencer or an entrepreneur even. And then you got to get lucky, but you can't get lucky really without the preparation. Maybe you can. And there's examples. In fairness, the ones that ruin the algorithm are the ones that buy one lottery ticket and they win it. And it does. It wrecks the algorithm. And this happens in business a lot. There are those businesses that truly get blind lucky, or entrepreneurs or people or investors, just dumb luck. And dumb luck is fine, but you cannot count on it. But I have learned over time, you can count on prepared luck. You can expect to get lucky if you've done the work. And I believe if that work is supported or compelled by some kind of instinct, it's not just, you know, I'm going to do the same thing until one day I win the lottery, but like, maybe your friend has an instinct that he's going to, by the way, I had an instinct when I went on the Rebel Billionaire. I said this exact thing to my partners. They said, you got to take 2 months off of work, no contact. Like, why are you going to go on the show? You know, I won $1 million on TV. I think you know that story.
Yeah. I know the whole story. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had this instinct though. They said, well, how do you feel, Shawn? Like if you got to do this and invest this time, because I'm the CEO of this little company, Lovesack.
Right.
How do you feel? And I said, I feel like I'm either going to get kicked off in the first episode, which would be bad because then I got to get sequestered to some island because they can't reveal who won, or I'm going to win. Yeah. That is how I felt. Now, when it played out, both things happened. Me and Richard were just laughing about this on the island 2 weeks ago. I was back on Necker, and he nearly kicked me off in the first episode because I was a smart A, and he didn't. And then I won. And so I think that when you combine a strong instinct with preparation, work, emails, follow up, desperation, the work it takes to try and make something happen, I have learned now not just to hope for luck, but to expect it. And it happens.
Dude, it happens. And I have a perfect story that happened to me last week about preparing for luck. I had this great vision of a video I could do for a brand right here in Utah. I was like, there is not a chance. And I knew the people I was emailing. This wasn't too cold. We had already done some deals together. They had already sent me product, whatever. I was like, they're going to love this pitch so much. It's going to be a huge budget. We're going to crush it online. It's going to go viral, whatever. So I make a deck, I make it all pretty, get all the numbers, all the examples, all the example content, some scripts, whatever. Send it over. And I'm just sitting there waiting for my bank account to, take an uptick. And almost immediately the girl rejects it instantaneously. Like, I'm like, you didn't even read the email clearly. You responded so quickly. Like how, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, no worries. If you have any opportunity, I'm just like loss of words. I'm like, okay, that was bad. Right. So I get in my car. I got invited to a founders meet and greet at the Jazz game. And I'm sitting there and this guy comes up to me. He's like, man, you got rejected today.
What?
And I was like, who are you? I didn't know that. I didn't know this guy. He's like, I was on that email you sent this morning. And I was like, email? Like, what are you? I still had no idea what he was talking about. He's like, you pitched me in my company.
No way.
And this is the CMO. So I'm like, oh yeah, dude, I got rejected so hard. We're just shooting it, like just having fun. He's like, I was so impressed with your pitch deck. You need to come to lunch because we have another project for you. So again, it's that like, I did the work. I did the preparation. It didn't work for that initial thing. Got rejected on that pitch. Randomly get invited to a Jazz game that night. So did this guy. He comes in. We meet. And I get home just feeling so lucky. I'm like,
wow.
Because obviously I'm just a dude who wants to sit on the couch and watch Netflix. I contemplated not showing up to this Jazz game.
Yeah. You know what? Let me poke at that because I suspected that as a person who operates in the CEO events and the founders parties, and I'm invited to this or invited to that. The truth is, man, back to my joke about being this married monogamous guy from Utah. I want to hang out with my kids.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't want to go to your event. I don't want to go skiing with you. I just want to ski with my son. Exactly. And I don't mean to be a jerk or, sound dismissive. It's just like, that's where my priorities are. And what's funny is it looks super glamorous to go to these things and these mixers. I'm on the Jazz game. I'm on the front row. I'm in the suite. Sure. And in reality, man, I'm with you. 90% of the time, I'd rather just watch what I want to watch on Netflix at home on my love sack. And so but you went. That's my point. You said yes. And you sometimes look, if you're in the game and you want to get ahead, it is tough. I prioritize my kids all the time and my personal life, whatever. But if you want to get ahead, you have to show up. You have to be in the mix. You have to say yes to some things at least. Yeah. And there it happened. So it wasn't just that you got lucky with that email and that interchange, but you were there. And had you not been there, I guarantee that. I can't guarantee, but I can't imagine it would have gone down the same way.
Dude, FaceTime is so valuable. And just us feeling our energy, we're vibing, we're laughing about the rejection. Like he's noticing I'm taking it okay. Like he's like, oh, this kid's chill, whatever. You said something that just struck a chord with me. I'm obviously a very monogamous man too. I married my high school sweetheart. And when we were 21, we've been together our whole life. I met her when I was 16. We've been together our whole lives, it feels like, right? And we've always been bouncing, just because of my work, I've been bouncing back and forth with LA. And you go to LA and in 24 hours, you have 24 months of networking, right? Of what networking is like in Utah. Yeah. You can get so much done. You can meet so many people. You can make so many new valuable connections so quickly in LA that when I would come back to Utah, it was like a withdrawal. Like it was like I was high on drugs for a couple weeks in LA, get home, nothing's going on here, seemingly, right? So I told my wife one night, I said, hey, I need you to hold me accountable to this. And when it works, I am going to show up everywhere I get invited to in Utah, because it's so far and in between. And I've kind of made that my rule. If it works and I'm available, I go to these things, and that has created a lot of lucky moments, a lot of lucky brand deals, a lot of lucky collaborations and connections just by kind of, you remember when I was in elementary, there was this program called Dare, and it was like, just say no. Yeah. Like, don't even consider things, drugs, just say no. To me, I kind of the reverse of that. Just say yes. I'm just going to go. Yeah. And again, it's not as glamorous as people put it on their stories, and typically 1 out of 10 events I go to is like, I get home, I'm like, I'm glad I went. All other 9, I'm like, I'm never going to one of these again.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And look, you got to be discerning, and people ask all the time, well, here you are, Shawn, talking out of both sides of your mouth, right? Like on the one hand, you're saying, say no to things, prioritize your family, prioritize your personal time, your mental health, whatever, your playtime. Yeah. On the other hand, you're saying, say yes to everything, go to this, go to that, show face. And the answer is, listen, I know it's not helpful. The answer is in the middle. And then people are like, well, how am I supposed to know which events to go to and which not? And the answer there is, this is always my answer now. This is why they pay you the big bucks. You are the CEO of your life. CEOs are paid a lot of money to make decisions, and the decisions aren't always even and equal and easy. And by the way, you'll never know what might have come with something, and you can't do everything, or your relationships will disintegrate, your mental health will disintegrate. You know, like there's only so much of you. So
it's well said. It's well said.
Pick and choose. And I do the same thing. And so it's not just about saying yes to everything. It's not about saying no to everything.
Right.
It's about making the tough decisions. And then, by the way, usually, and again, use your instincts. Like the older I get, you could call it superstition, but you would think that would go away with more knowledge, wisdom, and logic. The older I get, the more I rely on my instincts. And I'm guessing you might feel the same way.
You can spot it from a mile away. The more you're in any given industry, right? You can spot the bullshitters. You can spot the guys who are going to be valuable, the people that are going to help you. You can start spotting it. I mean, I can't even imagine in your shoes with the amount of employees you've probably been through. But it's like, in connections you made, you can spot it from a mile away. Maybe poke some holes in this, because I wrote something else down for you, Shawn.
Let's hear it.
I wrote, counterintuitively, saying no to certain gigs will generate more luck. And I'm talking, I guess I should have put this, but I'm talking like paying gigs. Like I'm trying to be selective in who I work with, who I take money from, who I transact with. And I feel like as I've been saying no, the exact deal that I wanted to have happen that didn't happen with this person happens like really quickly after. Like what holes or when you think about that? Like does saying no to paying gigs, like what's your initial thought?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I think about that. Let's riff on it together. I think it's an age and stage thing. So like you have navigated your career as an influencer or content creator, whatever you are, to a point where you can be more discerning. And if you're not, then you're not. You're just a guy who makes videos for people. In the early days, I made unnamed sacks for the Limited Corporation because that was what I got. You made Marlboro apparently speakers. Like you probably, it's not like your dream gig, but you take what you can get. And I think if you always take what you can get, then you'll always just get what you got. And so over time, that's what I'm saying. Like you can't just wake up one day and decide to be a content creator and be discerning. You have to operate with out of desperation typically. And you did, and now you're in a different place. And so in the stage you're at, you're able to say no. And if you don't say no, you'll be trapped at the level you're at.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I learned this as a musician. It's not the same, but I'll share it anyway. One of my other Shawnisms that will come in season 2 is I call it book the gig. And I used to just, book crazy. This is when I was a musician, like whether it was a wedding or like a corporate gig or whatever, we weren't prepared. We didn't have the repertoire, but like by doing it, I had to learn that stuff. I became a really, I think, decent cover band musician because I would just book the gig, then get ready for it. Now, through that process, people would try to get me to play things for free or like, hey, I'm your family, or hey, and dude, every time I did something that was low rent, low budget for, a favor, whatever, what's weird is I got treated worse, where the more they were paying me as a musician, the more they fed me, gave me breaks, watched out for me, helped me load in, whatever it might be. And my point being, your brand that you're building, whether it's a brand like Lovesack or whether it's a brand like a personal brand like yours, London, you have to be as discerning as you can be. And the stronger it gets, the more discerning you'll be at. Same thing with Lovesack. I get people DM me all day. Hey, just get me some Sactionals. I'll tell my friends and neighbors. The problem is that's our price. Our stuff's expensive, as you know.
Yeah. I think I said that same thing to you.
Yeah. Our price is us saying no. Our price is us saying like, it's worth it. And then we're not trying to be snobs.
No,
we're just trying to build a brand. And so I think there's something to saying no. I think you're onto something for sure.
Yeah. I think it puts you in a different category. If I'm just imagining myself, if client X sends 10 emails and they want to pay these 10 influencers 20 grand for a handful of posts or whatever it is. And one of them says no. In whoever sent that email, wouldn't that person automatically be in a different category? Like,
Yes.
holy, we just offered London last 20 grand and he just said no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just wondering, does it really trigger some sort of psychological response that you're better? Or what is it? Like, what?
No, you're right.
I don't know.
Humans want what they can't have. And again, you need to, and by the way, I've seen this work even without the goods. Like I've seen people play this game when they had nothing and they hadn't built up. So I do believe you're much safer playing that game as you age and stage into it, as you build your brand. But I've seen people come from nothing. And look, most of the time, like that fake it till you make it. I call it be what you will, be not what you are, but that's different. That's you building
that's great.
a career arc. But the fake it till you make it can work, but it's also very dangerous. Most of the examples I can think of where they do that too early, ultimately, man, they burn hot for a minute and they're gone. Or they turn out to be fraudsters of some kind because they built it on sort of a fraudulent foundation. And so I think you can play that card anytime you want, but I think it's much more potent when you have the goods. And obviously with 9 million plus followers on TikTok, you have goods now. You have the goods. And I think it's requisite that you play that game at this stage, and you're already seeing the fruits of and benefits of it.
I'll tell you what, Shawn, the next email that I get requesting or proposing a rate, I will just say no.
Love it.
I'm just going to do it. I'm going to see what happens. Like, cause I just talked about the rat race. Like there's this weird exchange thing I'm going through. I just need to get it out of my system because I'm the type that I've worked with an array of industries that I can effectively work with anybody on social media ads or social media videos, that I always try to make it work. And because I'm that type, I take lower rates every so often. When you have X paying 50K over here and then X paying 5K over here, that makes me look really bad. And I'm always hoping those two people never meet.
Let me press on that. Why do you do that? Why will you do the gig for 5 versus 50?
Well, okay. So they're package. It's packages. I would never do one video for 50 over here and one video for 5 over here. The $50 package is like maybe a 3-month engagement with videos coming down the pipeline or ads or production. The 5 thing is like, I can sit in my bathroom and do an ad read. Does that make sense? Yeah. But again, that downplays my value because all the value I have over here in the production is now downplayed by this stupid little ad that somebody's paying me to do. That takes me way less time, 5 minutes sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I got to get rid of that side of me and build up the value in the things that I love doing.
By the way, this is a good discussion for anybody in so many different industries, because the value of our services or our product changes with time, with clout, and also can be manipulated wherever you really want it to go. You have to ask yourself, what do you want? Like, there's nothing wrong with being a prolific content creator that's always working and is known as a guy who can deliver and whatever. And as long as you're creating good content, your followers are probably growing, and then, the gigs are flowing in. Or do you want to be more bespoke, or do you want to work less and get paid more? Like, we've chosen to sell fewer couches because of our price. We still sell a lot, but we could obviously sell more if we just drop the price. But what are we trying to achieve? We've made the choice. We're trying to build a brand that's aspirational, that is useful. And by the way, not cheap out on the product itself. That's part of the brand. And so our product's loaded with very expensive components to make it, my point is, that's our choice. We can play the game differently and just sell a ton and probably be even bigger, maybe monetarily, but we'd sacrifice our brand. And so my point again comes back to, that's why they pay you the big bucks as the CEO of your image, your business, your life. And you get to choose, but you should at least be aware of what you're choosing, and it shouldn't be haphazard. It should be intentional.
Yeah, it goes back to what I said initially to you privately. My theme this year is leave the rat race, ditch the rat race. And I think I'm just now becoming cognizant, like we're just talking, I'm realizing some things firsthand with you, Shawn, but I'm feeding the wolf that is the rat race by taking these things I don't want to do, but it's just money really quick. Yeah. Right. So I'm really gaining a lot of clarity. And I think all of the people that listen to this want to be entrepreneurs, want to be creators, or sound entrepreneurs and sound creators, it is a choice. Yeah. It is a choice to tell people your value. And I don't think people do that enough. We're the couch. We're the most valuable couch on the market. You know, we have that belief and we go out and we make it with the best supplies. I can come up with the best creative and the best ads and the best productions. And I need to ditch this. I need to ditch this little.
Well, and you don't need to. You only need to if that's what you want to do. And I think too many people run around not even knowing what they want to do. To your point, like you dangle some money in front of them and like, that sounds cool. Let me tell you the ultimate hack to this, and that I think has worked for Lovesack, is to have a really well honed strategic guide. And we don't have time on this call to unpack that. I could write a book on I want to someday. I'm really proud of ours, but let me just give a few high points. It's actually inside my book. I talk a little bit about this. If you have your higher purpose identified, and it can't just be cheesy, but like really, like what is London trying to achieve? I have one for Lovesack. I have one for Shawn Nelson. Yep. And then you work down from your purpose, which is why you exist, what you're trying to achieve on planet Earth, down through your values that are really well articulated. You know exactly what you stand for, who you are, who you're not, your guiding principles, and eventually work toward your mission, what you're trying to achieve. And all those, and then there's more, but all those things identified really clearly. If you can take the time out of your busy life on the toilet making videos to do that meta work, and then to live with it and hone it and pay, not just file it away in a closet somewhere. Like, okay, I did that. To be honest with you, most of the questions answer themselves. And then it's not even a choice. Like, how should Sactionals be priced? It's not like we debate this. I mean, it comes up because we're mentally fluid, and we, by the way, we're always poking at the strat guide, making sure that we like it. But once you feel really good about it and you've identified what you want to achieve, then you just have to be religious about it. Yep. And then actually it makes life super easy. It's kind of like being a member of, if one thing that makes being a Mormon easy is you already know the answers to some questions. I just don't do that. You can, you're a free human being, but you know what I mean? Right. So it's like once some of those questions are answered as let's say a brand or a project as an entrepreneur, it makes life easy. And that's been a lot. That's, I think, brought a lot of success and continues the success to our brand.
I think that's epic. And that's definitely a struggle I've had with just having as many ideas that come into my head and then onto my notepad, a vision. I have so many of them. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And so I think this is really, really powerful information that, I need to take some time. And all these things we're saying are going hand in hand. It's like, if I exit the rat race a little bit, that'll give me more time to work on bigger, better things, which will also give me more time to create this vision and break it down. So I love that.
Yeah, really, your instincts, of course, are very good. And most entrepreneurs are. Like the way that you've articulated saying no to some things, saying yes to some things, you're following your instincts and they're leading you to good places. And as you've observed, the luck follows. The opportunities just come. And that's why I'm saying at my age at this point, I expect it. It's not like I just hope for it. There was a time when it's like, I just hoped someone would buy this weekend and our store wouldn't close. Now, I mean, we're planning down to the dollar almost, week by week for a whole year, what we're going to sell because we expect it. But it used to just be a hope. And over time, you make your own luck by doing the preparation. But in the end, those decisions about what you're trying to achieve come through instinct. And no one can answer it for you. And people all want to know what the answer is. And this is the part that separates, I think, entrepreneurs that are not just wantrepreneurs, is the ability to just make a flippant decision and be cognizant of it and then stick to it. And again, that's why they pay you the big bucks. And I think a lot of people in the end just aren't even willing to do that, or
Right.
they remain haphazard and they'll do fine. Like you could make videos forever. Like you've unlocked a source code. You've unlocked an ability to make money.
Sure.
Like at least in this economy, in this whatever paradigm we live in.
Sure.
I don't know. You can make as many videos as you want, probably make as much money as you want. But is that what you want to do with your time on Earth?
Right. Exactly. And the answer is no.
Okay. That's powerful. But the fact you even know that, now what do you do with it?
So video, I think just to not get confused, I think video is my I think relaying a message through video is my superpower.
Okay.
Now, there's levels to that. There's the daily posting on your little TikTok, doing little like, I'm not about that. I think my calling in life is to make some form of video.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just starting to broaden the horizon of the scale of that.
Yeah.
I think my creativity transcends past my dumb little TikToks and my dumb little Instagrams that I've used to get to this goal of, hey, here's a backlog of everything I've ever done in my life. Let me write this movie.
Love it.
Let me direct this movie. So again, video is at the core, but yeah, you're totally right. I do not want to be making videos forever. I want to be making less and bigger, more impactful, whether it's funny, whether it's inspirational. I want to create stories that change people's perspectives 100%.
Well, look, I mean, maybe you're Quentin Tarantino and you could say, well, I'm nothing like him. He didn't start out as a silly, video maker, whatever. It doesn't matter. He came up in a different age, stage, whatever, but he had his own path to whatever luck got him where he got.
Yep.
But who's to say that your path isn't different, but could end up in a similar place or better or more interesting? In the end, the best part is, to some degree, you're going to determine that. But sadly, a lot of people they get so busy just making money. Yep. They don't even take the time to do that meta work to really identify what they want. And if they're not careful, you'll wake up when you're 50 or 60 or whatever, and you'll have made money, but you may not have spent your life doing what you really wanted to do. And by the way, there's so many people that look onto a Lennon Lazerson already feel so envious because you get to do whatever you want and makes fun videos and make a lot of money doing it. And it was hard enough, I'm sure, to get here. Let's talk about that a little bit. Tell us about, look, I vlogged for a whole year straight once because I was interested in that movement. And I didn't get a big following, but a lot of other great things came of it. Some other luck came by me doing that I won't unpack here because of time. But yeah, I'm curious, what you're doing as a content creator is watched by almost everyone and envied by many, because it's like, here you are trying to not trade your face for money. And other people are like, dude, if I could just trade my face for money, I'd like, wow. Yeah, so I'm curious about some of the grind that people don't see that helped you create this luck that people perceive.
Yeah. It's the infamous, people blow up overnight, or she blew up overnight, or he blew up overnight. It's so rare. It's so rare that that's ever the case. And what people don't see is that I started my channels. This vision started in 2015. This vision of, I know I could make a living. That my initial vision was make a living making the videos I want. That was kind of the thesis.
And by the way, you did it.
I did it. We did it. Let's go. Yeah. And I pat myself on the back. I'm the first one to lay down in bed and feel gratitude to my younger version of what we're doing right now. But guess what? I'm a visionary. So I'm already thinking, okay, what's down the road? Yeah. And that's where this conversation happens. But dude, I put this on my Instagram. I wish I had the numbers for you because it's so funny. What I did was I took 2015 to 2020. I took 5 years. I went through every single video that I had ever posted online, which at that point was hundreds. And I added up all the views. It was a couple 100,000 in 5 years. Then I took 2020 to 2022, which was 3.5 billion.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody says, oh, he just popped off. He woke up posted a TikTok and now he's got 5 million followers. Like everybody said that about me. I'd heard it through. I mean, you get the high school kids. It's all your old high school people talking, smack about you. And then I just go, guys, the only reason it worked, like it was a little, okay. This is such a good example. I can't believe I didn't think of this. TikTok, dude. Think about this. This is so lucky. Here I have 4 or 5 years grinding YouTube and grinding Instagram. All this knowledge about how social media works, how to post, how to caption, how to hashtag, how to collaborate with other users, what to say in the beginning of the video, what not to say, all the hooks, all the editing tactics. And then all of a sudden this new app sneaks out under everybody's radar. And here I am just trying to get a break anywhere I can. So of course, I'm going to download this new app. My content was so far ahead of what every other user was doing on TikTok at the time because it was dances and lip syncs. That was it when I joined TikTok in 2019. But here I have a backlog of 4 years of know-how.
Wow.
It's just on Instagram, I was competing with the best of the best. Now I just moved to TikTok and I look like the best over there. And people go, yeah, well, you just figured it out early. You just got on early. It's like, yes, that's true. I got lucky because I had all this know-how that wasn't working on these other apps. Boom, luck strikes. I started TikTok. And within 6 months, I had, 500,000 followers.
Yeah.
At the end of my first year, I had 2 million. So that's really cool. I just had that realization just now.
I love that.
That was so lucky for me to have all this information.
Yeah.
And then, haphazardly, like you say, I'm like, I'll just download TikTok, whatever. I'm going to be making the videos anyway. Let's put them up on this new app.
Yeah.
And that's where the luck struck.
Let me share a parallel because I find that interesting.
Yeah.
We invented Sactionals way back in 2006.
Yeah.
The way you see them today. And we spent a decade basically trying to sell them like couches inside our little furniture stores. And that led us down behaving like a furniture company, rugs, bowls, lamps, baskets, decorative accessories. We did fine. We grew the company. We got to like 50 stores. And then just like what you described, the direct consumer movement. So this is like Casper, Peloton, Warby Parker, even Tesla with its stores was happening in shopping malls. And we were already there for a decade and a half in shopping malls. And we realized, holy cow, we've got the product for that movement. Let's get rid of 80% of our stuff, which we did. Imagine that. You have a store, you get rid of 80% of the stuff. And let's layer on video. Let's do advertising. We basically, let's take this business model and apply it to this product. And then Saction will start ripping. But what people miss is that we wouldn't have even been in a position to do that had we not grinded it out to 50 locations, learned the retail business really well because we couldn't drop the ball there either. And here we are today. Now, here's the crazy part. The direct consumer movement is over.
Right.
And most of those companies are not profitable and never will be or are already gone.
Yep.
And one winner of that whole movement is Little Lovesack that began at the Gateway in 2001 when you were like a kid. And so cool. I opened that store, let's see, Lennon, when you would have been like, what, 9 years old?
Yeah, 30 now. Is that right? 9 years? 9 years old? How many years ago?
So my point is that, wow, like nobody appreciates the decade that went into the preparation to build the business that then appeared to get lucky and then, went public in 2018 and 7X itself. And now we're doing okay. And by the way, we're still on the grind because when you are a visionary, as you called yourself, or when you have ambition. So the last chapter in the book, marry top ambition with infinite patience.
Wow. That's epic.
And that's a hard thing for people with ambition to do because you're ambitious. But for me anyway, it's a superpower because now that I've put 25 in and I've realized I didn't die. I didn't become a bazillion. I'm almost glad I didn't become a bazillionaire because I'd be golfing.
Yeah.
I ran into one of my friends the other day who sold his company and just made a pile of money. And honestly, I felt like some of these friends of mine, they're looking for things to do. But when you have top ambition, it's like the goalposts just keep moving. I talked about this with Coach Urban Meyer. Yep. He doesn't get, like at the end of the season, that's it. All he can do is win the trophy and then he's got to start over again. In our case, London, you could become Quentin Tarantino. You could become whatever. whatever it is you want to become now.
Right.
And because you already hit the goalpost that you set out and you're grateful for that. And I'm grateful. We got to build a company, become profitable, come public, but I'm not done. Right. In fact, now I'm like, let's build a Nike. How many humans get the chance to do that? So look, what you want to do is different than what I want to do, but the paths that led us here are very parallel.
Totally. It's so cool. Like, it's so funny because you see this market shift, and I think the general public see entrepreneurs in this perspective where I go, oh, I think couches are going to sell like crazy. I need to put couches on the market. So I put couches on the market because I saw this shift, and all of a sudden I make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
That's really the case. And you already spoke to the companies that failed during that market shift. And I didn't wake up being like, I really think TikTok is the future. This app, I'm getting on that app. No, I was just in a place that had so much data, so much content backlogged. Adding TikTok to my daily posting schedule was absolutely nothing to me. Just like you said, you already had the stores. Putting the correct product in said stores to match the market is why it worked, but they don't care. Okay. They don't care you built this couch or built this content machine 10 years ago. It's so cool. Yeah.
And just a couple episodes ago, we wrapped with Gronk talking about grit is half the game. And it makes me feel like, look, I know it's trite and I know it's whatever, overplayed, but it can't be overemphasized. Like your grit to grind out 5, 6, 7 years, ultimately 10 years of content creation got you here. And it kind of feels like overnight. Lovesac feels like overnight to people. Yeah. 22.5 decades, bro. Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole adult life. Right. And by the way, I still feel like it's fragile in the sense that my ambitions now are so big that like at 700 million or whatever ish, it's nothing. And I don't mean that in like a snobby way. What I mean is like,
I get you.
I'm just trying to now figure out how I go from here to like where I really want to get to. And it's scary because geez, it just seems so hard. And so but in the end, I know it'll get me there. Just like this podcast, man, like here I am barely beginning like a little bean sprout out of the ground to build my little social media exposure. And man, if only I had, and look, here's the thing. Do I have the fortitude not to do these 25 episodes to match my book, but to do 25 and 25 and go 10 years with it?
25.
Because if I don't, what can I possibly expect? And I think most people in your realm, because it looks so easy to post a video, and it is, it's not that hard. Yeah. It's not that easy either.
Right.
It's not that easy either. Like all the hashtags, and then by the time you get it done, you've made one spelling error and you're like,
Yep.
I've been there. And so, but it's not that easy either. But not only that, do you have the grit to do it? And then do you have the grit to do it for a decade?
Right.
And if you don't expect it. Don't expect the luck. And by the way, if the luck finds you in year 2, holy crap, good for you. You were luckier than London. You were luckier than Shawn. And that happens too.
Right.
And the worst part is the news or the media cycle picks up on those stories. And then everybody's broken psychologically because it looks like that's, if you can't do it in a year or 2 or 5 or whatever, you're failing. Yep. When that is the outlier and the real, and you're even, I don't know if you're an outlier or not, but the real stories are decade-long stories.
Completely agree. It takes so long to have overnight success.
Well, and what's funny is now that you have these other ambitions, you could say, yeah, I succeeded in this, but now you feel like a pygmy again. Because if you're trying to be Key and Peele or you're trying to be, Quentin Tarantino, make whatever it is you want to do, London, you probably now still feel like a poser, like a beginner, like a silly, whatever TikToker.
Yeah.
And so what is a success?
Yeah. I think feeling like a beginner at every phase of your life is somewhat a superpower. It's a gift. I think because we realize that if you're a beginner, you realize there is somebody out there that, is where you want to, there's somebody out there that you can replicate. Whereas people that fail is because, a little fake it till you make it. They already feel like they're up there, where I think it's important to have the belief, like I have let's say my belief is to direct a big movie, $100 million project, whatever it is. That makes me nervous, but if anybody, I could do it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I believe I could do it.
Yes.
It makes me nervous. I feel like I'm a beginner. I'd go take classes. I'd go be a PA on $100 million shoot if I had to, just to feel it out. And I think that's a very overlooked skill, is being the beginner, even when you're at the top.
Yes. This is why I've loved picking up dirt biking in my 40s, is because it's one thing to ride a dirt bike around a lot or something, but once you get deep into it, I have these guys who will ride straight up a cliff.
Yep.
And it looks like humanly impossible. And then, after a number of rides and whatever, preparing, I end up doing that same thing. And now, by the way, I do it all the time. And here's what came of it. And I put this in the book. If it has been done, it can be done. And why not me? Like some other human did it. And obviously, perhaps that person seems really intelligent or capable or amazing or posh or put together. But in the end, man, you meet enough of those. I got tons of billionaire friends and 100 millionaire friends, and they're just dudes. And so, or gals, whatever, but like, they're just people. And so if it has been done, it can be done. Why not me? And you've, I think, realized that listening to you talk. Congratulations. I'm so excited to see where you go and what you do. And you've unlocked the secret to the universe, man. You know how to make luck.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to be thinking a lot about this podcast. I feel like this has been one of the better conversations I've had on one of these things in a long time. It's so interesting. I love alternatively thinking about business. And I think luck is just overlooked.
And I think in the end, people can get big egos and they don't want to credit things to luck, or they do it in a self-deprecating way, but it's not sincere. The reality is it's this combination. It's not that you didn't put in effort. We made that clear. But you can hope for it and expect it. I'm curious, London, one piece of advice you might give, to London 10 years ago, or anyone, who's just getting started on their journey, anything you might save them 25 years.
Yeah. I wrote about this rule on my LinkedIn today called the one of 100 rule. And the 1 of 100 rule, I learned, I'd given up actually. You're good.
We got to start that over.
No worries.
Inhaled my Dr. Pepper.
The biggest piece of advice for any aspiring content creator, I'll keep it granular here, is called the 1 of 100 rule. And I gave up in that stint of 5 years when nobody was watching my content. I actually gave it up and went and knocked doors selling pest control. I hated it. Hated every second of it. I always felt like I was better than knocking doors. And that was my demise. That's why I sucked at it. I was like, I'm going to be way cooler than this. I already know that. So I shouldn't be here. And I took it for granted and I failed at it. But halfway through the summer, I was down in the depths and my manager said, look, today you're just going to knock 100 doors. You don't even have to talk to these people. Just knock 100 doors and you're going to sell one account. I promise you. So I swallowed my pride. I knocked 100 doors and sure enough, I got a sale. I don't remember if it came on door 2 or door 87 or door 99, but I got the sale. And that experience stuck with me so much so that when I got home that summer, I said, I'm going to post 100 videos and one of them's going to go viral. And sure enough, I posted 100 videos and one went viral. So beginning content creators, look at it in terms of a book and not in terms of pages. Just get all the bad content out. Post the flops. Don't worry about analytics. Post the bad content, because one of those pieces out of 100 is going to blow up, and then you can recalibrate and you'll have all these learnings. So I spent so much time in my early days making excuses and worrying about what the feedback was going to be when I did a post. Now, post, pop, post, pop. So the 1 of 100 rule will help you get over the hurdle of, not wanting to put yourself out there unless things are perfect.
I love it. I love it. Well, that's how you make your own luck. I mean, there's a recipe. You just got to be willing to do the work. And London, it's been so cool unpacking. And by the way, just to make it clear, in case people aren't plugged into your world, in your position, if I can be so bold, you're able to make hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars now making videos, making content.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many different avenues you can take. My revenue as an individual is split up into three places: views, which can make you millions alone; brand deals, which could make you millions alone; and now with Final Boss Hour, a product which could make me millions alone. So again, but even if you're making $5,000 here and there, it's such a big blessing to understand how to make good content that people want to watch.
That's right. And you just have to be willing to, I mean, look, you have to have some charisma, baseline,
Sure.
ability, whatever, follow those instincts. But most of all, grit is half the game, the grit to make those 100 videos. And in the end, most people aren't. In the end, they think they are, they pretend they are, but let's just look at their video feed. Let's see how many.
Yeah.
And I mean that metaphorically. It doesn't have to be videos. Like, let's look at what you've really put out there. So London, thanks for sharing that bit of wisdom with us. Thanks for unpacking this so deeply with me today. You can follow London, as I do, at London Laz on Instagram, TikTok, and every other social media channel that matters. Search up #Home Alone or Macaulay Culkin and 50-50, you'll get this guy or one of his movie remakes. Please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast or video, wherever you're watching it. Please give it a star rating. Every bit makes a huge difference. Thank you in advance. Please share it out on social media to help others save a chunk off their own 25-year journey, because you're just that kind of friend. Thank you so much to the master of Macaulay, the ringleader of movie scene recreations, the tester of the Tesla, and the maker of luck himself. Thank you so much, London Laz.
Thank you, Shawn. I feel honored that I got picked for this topic. Thank you.
And to everyone listening, remember to make your own luck. It just might save you 25 years.